All right. All right, all right, all right. You know what time it is, man. You know what time it is. Educational purposes only. How to survive, man.
This video contains discussions of abuse, suicide, and violence, which may be distressing for some
We're gonna
viewers.
be pausing a
Please
lot.
take care while watching.
Disclaimer: we're gonna be pausing a lot. If you want to go watch whatever you call it, the whole video, go to How to Survive. Man, you already know what it is. Copyright.
And feel free to step away if you need to.
The nicknames that it has: the Bridge of Pain, Gladiator School, Torture Island. The name speaks for itself.
What are some words you'd use to describe Rikers Island?
Hell. I had to go in there and be the most violent so I can be able to survive.
In this video, we see him being escorted to the prison shower. He appears to speak to the guard, who in seconds is seen slamming him into a wall and then to the ground.
Welcome to Rikers Island in New York City, a place where detainees await their trials. Although it's technically a jail, inmates often spend more than a few days here. Some spend weeks, others years. And those who get out alive are considered lucky. From overpopulation, understaffing, gang violence, and fight clubs to rampant corruption and neglect, Rikers Island will change anyone who crosses its bridge of pain. Why have so many inmates died behind bars at Rikers? What is the program, and why are so many guards giving inmates special treatment?
Basically, it's this like power structure on Rikers Island that had people that fight for these positions to be good. You know, to not worry about somebody taking their stuff, but not worry about somebody attacking them.
And will Rikers Island close for good in 2027? Think you have what it takes to survive in a hellhole like this? Let's find out.
You freeze me. Oh, shit.
After getting picked up and handcuffed, you're brought onto a bus with other detainees. You cross the bridge of pain, and you're escorted to your new home for the foreseeable future.
You walk in, and the first thing that hits you is the smell. It's a very odd smell of like, I didn't know what I was smelling, but people would say that's just blood and just chemicals that they...
Straight chemicals, blood, tears, you name it, poop, piss.
clean the blood with.
First, you wait.
Stay out of prison, man. Stay out of jail, man. Go to school. Do what I'm doing, man. Go to work. You know what I mean? Straight up. Be a screamer, man. Screamer, man. Be a comedian, actor, whatever you want to do. Ball play, man. Just do not do anything to get you up in behind these walls and cells, man.
To be processed and are held in the intake units, which can sometimes be crammed with dozens of detainees. And although you're only supposed to be there for 24 hours at most, you may spend days inside a crammed holding cell with a bed made of cardboard and an overflowing toilet. Consider yourself lucky, because in 2021, detainees had to use plastic bags for toilets while waiting to be sent to their cells.
Feces all over the wall, unoperable restrooms, toilets would not flush, the sinks would not work. It was disgusting.
Your cell isn't much better. It has an iron toilet, a rock-hard bed, and no heat, which means freezing temperatures during the winter. But you'd better get cozy, because there's no guarantee you'll even get an hour of recreation time outside of your new home. We spoke with Bryce Peterson. He's a CNA research scientist who leads major projects to help improve policing and correctional systems, focusing on safety, technology, and support for families affected by incarceration. We got his take on the systemic issues jails like Rikers Island are facing.
Rikers is a unique jail in so many ways. It more resembles a prison system than a jail system. It's run by a city, which is one of the few jail systems operated at a city level, not a county level, has its own Department of Corrections that operates it. It's just a geographically challenging, dilapidated buildings. There's a lot of challenges with Rikers Island.
You can't do nothing. It's the same shit all day, every day, day in, day out. Rikers Island, you're stuck in the house all day, bro.
But fights, stabbings, or staff shortages can cancel your fun time without warning.
NBC News recently obtained more than 100 hours of surveillance video from inside Rikers. Scenes like this, an attempted knifing averted by an officer, and an inmate-organized so-called fight night, where some detainees were forced to participate.
Lunchtime is mandatory. You're either lining up at a mess hall or you're eating off a plastic tray handed to you through a slot in your cell. The food isn't much, mainly frozen processed foods like pizza pockets and burritos. The chicken day is by far the most popular and territorial. You better build some strong allies to avoid getting jumped for your drumstick here. And the guards are not a fan of the milk cartons.
And as the officers serve lunch, through a cell opening, a milk carton. The carton becomes a projectile, a giant spray of urine and feces.
I'm supposed to feed a guy that's throwing stuff out of the cell at me. I'm supposed to feed him, but gotta still remain professional and do a job.
Even though Rikers Island has kept some of the most dangerous criminals out of our homes, you can never be too careful. In moments of civil unrest like this, your personal safety is paramount. You might be surprised how easy it is to have your home broken into. That's why I recommend using this incredible home security tool from today's embarrassment of defense safe to prove you protection. True, bad, make sure non-milk have to wait. Kind, available every description theory. But in practice, you may have to wait. Caged versions have even been used as temporary holding cells in the past. Violence is always close by. You hear about
Can't be paying your bills too, how to survive. Come on, dog. You know this. Come on.
slashings with homemade blades.
Come on.
See the aftermath of beatdowns in the hall.
Come on. Come on, how to survive. I can't be paying your bills now too. Come on.
Or watch officers rushing to pull men apart. The official rules are supposed to keep you safe, but the reality is different. At any moment, a fight can break out and cost you your life. If you want to survive here, keep your head down, avoid eye contact, and figure out quickly which crews run your unit.
I started slowly learning that if I want to live and survive here, then I really got to lose a piece of myself.
That's right. And don't lose a piece of your head. I mean, you don't want to get behind the ear, the oobla obligaba right there. Don't miss a piece of chunk of your brain out there.
I try to hold on the human side of
Don't do that.
myself.
It's a fine line to walk. You don't want to be known for fighting, but you can't let other inmates see you as a target. At the same time, you don't want to gain a reputation for being problematic for the guards. Keeping a low profile, being respectful, and even bribing them can go a long way.
A few days later, I let the Colombian guy know that I had another officer that was willing to do the same job that I was doing. So after a few runs and introducing the other officer, I start bringing in contraband more frequently.
You'll also want to keep an eye out for gangs. In 2022, a report led by a former detainee highlighted how a leader of the Dominican gang, Trinitarios, virtually ran an entire cell block. In addition to having designer shoes, bins of food, and clothes in his cell, the leader, referred to as Bacalao, made it clear he was in charge, not the staff.
Who was running the place?
The inmates run the facilities.
An inmate named Relator G explained how he was jumped after being placed in his housing unit. The attack only stopped when Bacalao told the individuals involved to stop.
Bacalao!
The gang leader then explained the rules of the cell block, referred to it as his
Bacalao!
house, which included attacking new people as they arrived. Huh, what a cheery welcome. Other gangs at Rikers have taken things even further. In February 2025, a member of the Bloods made headlines for his vicious attacks on
Member of the
staff.
Bloods.
Over 2 years, Sundance Oliver was responsible for attacking 45 correctional officers and 3 civilians. At the time, a law implemented in 2024, limiting an inmate's time in solitary to just a few hours per day, made it hard to keep guys like Oliver locked down. However, those laws have since been overturned, to the officer's relief.
Whoever thought getting rid of solitary confinement was a good idea, you need to pack your stuff up and you need to go.
If you
Well, hold up. And listen. I'm not too fond of the prison system, the jail system. Round of applause. Pat on my back. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Do the snitch, man. He a rat. You know what I mean? Someone done carved his face up. I mean, like it was like it was a little lantern instead of a little pumpkin. You know what I mean? They got him right in the cheek, try to buck 50 him. You can see he got hit in the head. He's talking about no sorry. Boy, you better keep your mouth closed, man.
Confinement was a good idea. You need to pack your stuff up and you need to go.
If you've managed to make it through the day, well done. At night, when the lock-in happens, the noise doesn't stop. Men shout, bang on doors, or scream threats. Here, sleep is a rare luxury.
My first night in jail, when that door closed, I probably cried hysterically.
Try to get as
What? What do you mean you cried hysterically, boy, man? Chin up, man. Head up. Chin out. Chest out, man. Say it with your chest. Something about you crying.
It's a rare
Light
luxury.
skins,
My
man.
first night in jail, when that door closed, I probably cried hysterically.
Boy.
Try to get as much shut-eye as you can. Trust me, you'll need it. But it might be easier said than done, considering Rikers' dark and haunted past. Before becoming America's most notorious jail complex, Rikers Island was farmland owned by the wealthy Dutch Rijken family. The city originally bought it in 1884 to be used as a dump. Fitting. After relying on forced labor by inmates from other NYC jails to build it,
That's crazy, man. That's 3-4 white men throwing that black man wherever he gotta go, man. Shoot. It's crazy.
Rikers Island opened in 1932. Within its first decade, watchdogs had branded it inhumane. From the 1950s through the 70s, Rikers exploded in size and violence. Overcrowding, hunger strikes, and riots became routine.
Not an animal, you know, the way they make you feel like you're an animal, the way they throw your things around, you know?
It was even immortalized in Marvel Comics as a prison for supervillains. By the 80s and 90s, the chaos only escalated. Suicides among youth soared.
It was my birthday in June, and I had nobody to be with. I took this here, my wrist.
So you tried to commit suicide?
Exactly, and I've been shot too.
Gangs ruled cell blocks, and guards themselves rioted in protest. At its peak, more than 20,000 people were crammed inside, making it the largest jail in the U.S.
Unless you've been inside of a prison or jail, it's really hard to talk about the scope of overcrowding. I mean, like we talk about crowded situations, like if you go to a mall or something like that. Inside of a prison, you're talking about sometimes 8 people inside of a 4x8 cell, right? So you have multiple bunks in a room where you can touch the walls on both sides. So it's just a very different situation than what you're used to. And that's their living quarters that they're often confined in for hours and hours every single day. And then when they're out of their cells, they're also in situations where you're shoulder to shoulder with people while you're trying to exercise. You're directly next to people on either side of you while you're trying to have a phone call with a loved one, a family member, things like that. They're on top of each other in some of the most difficult living situations any
Pause. Shit.
of us could imagine.
By the 2000s, Rikers was in the spotlight regularly for all the wrong reasons.
At that time in 2007, there was so many youth. I had to go in there and be the most violent so I can be able to survive.
And it wasn't only violent inmates causing problems. Jail staff and correctional officers were being exposed for their criminal ways too. From stolen artwork and smuggled drugs to officers forcing themselves onto incarcerated women, the staff had a lot of issues. Officers were accused of turning a blind eye to fight clubs and even encouraging inmates to attack each other. Investigations revealed the use of excessive force, a lot of it.
One of the more established findings is really crowded facilities are more prone to violence, right? Not surprisingly, you have people on top of each other. They create these conditions where there's lots of tension, strain. You have staff involved. It just creates it's a
Pause.
breeding system for violence, both against staff and against each other. If it's way too crowded, it's really hard for staff to manage that population effectively, which means people get away with more things, right? Staff aren't going to do as good of a job of searching them when they need to. They're not going to do as good a job searching cells, screening stuff that's coming in, monitoring their phone calls, monitoring visitation. Staff get away with more things because, again, there's less oversight. When there's fewer staff per inmates in the facility, we call it staff to inmate ratio. When that's lower, there's less oversight for staff too. So staff want to get away with things like staff bringing in contraband, those kinds of things. So it leads to a whole host of issues.
With a lack of training, medical support, and inhumane living conditions, Rikers Island continues to be a problem for both inmates and jail staff. Sadly, many inmates with pre-existing mental health conditions have not been given the care they deserve. They have been victims of abuse and sad reminders of a corrupt system that has historically targeted minorities and ignored basic human rights.
When you have, again, such a large prison population, it's a drain on your resources, and then people aren't getting the services they need. So then it's this like self-perpetuating cycle where people don't get the services they need, they're released, they're inadequately prepared for release, they return to prison, and it keeps going and going.
In this video,
stay out, man. Stay out of them systems, man. Do not get incarcerated. If you do, call my lawyer, man.
we see him being escorted to the prison shower. He appears to speak to the guard, who in seconds is seen slamming him into a wall and then to the ground.
In 2010, Khalif Browder was just 16 years old when he was arrested for stealing a backpack. He couldn't afford bail, so he was placed on Rikers Island, awaiting trial. While maintaining his innocence throughout his time there, Browder was offered plea deals, which he refused.
The judge told me that if I plead guilty, I would release from jail that same day. But I didn't do it. You're not gonna make me say I did something just so I could go home.
In 2013, Browder was released with all the charges dropped, but the damage was irreversible. He had spent over 1,100 days in jail, the majority in solitary confinement, and claimed both guards and inmates regularly beat him.
The risks of solitary confinement for individuals.
16 years old, man. New York City, come on, man. Who was he, man, at the time? That's crazy, man. That's sad. 16 years old going that down.
Range from a number of
4 years in it.
Psychological issues, right? Like increased issues with mental health, depression, anxiety, suicide risks, suicide ideation. There's some physical issues associated with it as well, because oftentimes you don't get access to exercise, and so you can have sleep deprivation, atrophy, other things like that. You can have social issues, like you're not interacting with people on a daily basis, so it can, especially for adolescents, can interrupt their kind of social development.
What did Rikers do to your son?
It destroyed him. It destroyed him mentally.
In 2015, at 22 years old, Browder took his own life. Calls for Rikers to close down were reignited.
What?
It destroyed him mentally.
In 2015, at 22 years old, Browder took his own life.
That's sad, man. Come on, dog. Come on, man.
Calls for Rikers to close down were reignited.
Shut it down!
Lawsuits were created and policies were changed, but the ultimate goal was to close Rikers once and for all. Unfortunately, it remained open, and the mistreatment of inmates continued.
A transgender woman's death on Rikers Island is leading to calls for an investigation and a rally today in her name.
In April 2019, 27-year-old Laylene Extravaganza Polanco was arrested on an assault charge for allegedly biting a cab driver. She was taken to Rikers Island and was meant to be released a few days later, but remained in jail due to prior drug and prostitution charges from 2017. She couldn't afford her
Yo, hold up, my phone, man. Let me see this still on, man. Yo, check, yo. Hey, New York down bad, man.
$500 bail. While being processed, Polanco told authorities about her epilepsy and history of seizures. On May 15th, she was taken to a psychiatric ward after what was described as radical changes in behavior, such as hallucinations, shouting, and suicidal thoughts. Despite her psychiatrist's recommendation, just 9 days later, Laylene was placed in solitary confinement for 20 days. On day 9 of 20, she was found dead in her cell due to a seizure that went unchecked. Even though regulations require officers to check on inmates in solitary confinement every 15 minutes, there was a 47-minute gap between checks on Polanco. At 2:46 in the afternoon, when officers finally did check on
they knew what they were doing.
Her, she was unresponsive. Video footage shows one of the officers laughing while another calls out to her. After failed attempts to revive her, a bodyboard was brought in at 2:56 p.m. The city of New York eventually paid $5.9 million to her family in a wrongful death lawsuit, but no amount of money can make up for the neglect Polanco faced. Between January 1st and November 30th, 2013, There were 129 cases in which inmates needed medical attention so extensive that the jail's doctors couldn't provide adequate treatment. All of those cases involved correctional officers, and 77% of the cases involved inmates who were deemed mentally ill.
We know that in general, the correctional population, especially in the United States, but this is true across the world as well, correctional populations have disproportionately high levels of people with mental health issues and other kinds of health issues.
Fractured bones, wounds requiring stitches, it was clear that the officers were using excessive force. The majority of inmates claimed to have been beaten by officers after being handcuffed, leaving them defenseless. These assaults also resulted in 5 inmates attempting to take their own lives. One example is Jose Batista, who was arrested following a...
What the fuck? You talking about Jose Batista? Hey, what didn't he play for the Toronto Blue Jays? The Toronto Blue Jays? Come on.
family dispute. After not being able to post a $250 bail, he was sent to Rikers, where he tried to...
Hey, listen, man. You do a crime, you can't pay $250 for your bail. You deserve to go to Rikers. I ain't even gonna play with you. You deserve it, man.
hang himself. 4 officers cut him down and then beat him senseless.
Investigators from 4 city agencies
Beat his head in,
concluded
man.
that one of
Beat
the
his
officers punched Mr. Batista so severely he suffered a perforated bowel and needed emergency surgery to save his life.
He punched him so hard in the side of the head, man. He had to go shit himself. Shit out a whole rectum out his damn ass, man. That's crazy.
In a place as unstable as Rikers Island, where the mental illnesses being dealt with include bipolar disorder, depression, and schizophrenia, inmates have a hard time coping. Some turn inwards. Others are more aggressive, splashing officers with urine or physically assaulting them.
I didn't sign up to be a punching bag. I didn't sign up to be a crash test dummy. You go back to that housing area that that inmate assaulted you in, and you're looking at him eye to eye, and he's looking at you going, I'll do it again.
Violence happens because of a lack of proper structures in place. We don't have adequate staffing, we don't have adequate surveillance systems, we don't have adequate whatever it is, like dilapidated buildings. In truth, violence happens because of all of those things, right? It's a combination of all of that. It's not one thing that explains why violence happens. It's a lack of oversight and not proper structures. It's probably a concentration of more violent people, maybe more gang members in the community, or people who are more likely to commit violence without adequate controls in place for dealing with those individuals. So maybe you don't have good classification systems, like knowing where to place certain individuals to keep them away from each other when there's violent clashes. You might have staff who are overzealous or don't have proper controls in place to stop them from engaging in uses of force and abuse and other things. It's typically a combination of all of those things. It's the prison environment, it's the people that are in there, and then it's a lack of proper controls in place.
I got 22 stitches in my face, okay? This could have easily been a funeral arrangement today.
But it's important
Till you snitch. That's what happened when you snitch. Snitches get stitches.
to
You lucky you weren't beaten to death, boy.
remember that Rikers Island is supposed to be a place where people are held on a temporary basis.
85% of people who are on Rikers Island are just awaiting trial. Majority of people there are still waiting to be sentenced or maybe even get released.
Sadly, some don't live to see that day.
Real life,
In
man.
February 2014, Jerome Murdo, a former Marine who suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, was found dead in his cell, surrounded by a pool of blood and vomit. With an internal body temperature of 103 degrees, it was determined he was baked to death, as one article put it. His death was ruled accidental, as the guard who was responsible for checking on him had left her post. But given Rikers' history, a lot of people questioned if this was simply neglect. There was another incident involving an inmate with schizophrenia who swallowed toxic detergent. Despite cries for medical attention for hours, he was ignored and died. One officer was charged with human rights violations. In 2019, violence between
You notice what just happened? When they killed a black guy, ain't nothing happened. When they killed that white man, at least one of them got charged. I ain't saying nothing.
inmates had increased 15% in just 1 year. Assaults on staff members significantly worsened too.
It was dangerous for everyone who was in there, for the medical staff, for the correctional officers, and for the people who were incarcerated there.
And to no surprise, officers' use of force shot up as well. Almost 30% more, making it an all-time high for the jail. Much of this use of force was against adolescent detainees, with 571 cases recorded in 2019. And when the officers weren't abusing the younger inmates, they found other ways to keep them in check.
I started learning about the program. We always knew what correctional officers were the one that was upkeeping the program. They could say, well, we couldn't put our hands on the youth, so we needed to figure out how to keep them under control.
Despite claims by the New York City Department of Correction that the idea of the program was fabricated, it became clear that officers were giving some inmates leniency to keep other juveniles in check. Some even got rewarded.
He'll get more calls to call his family, right, because he'll take calls from people. If you're not in that power rank, that means you're not having cereal, or you're not even having a muffin. Their commissaries get taken away, their sneakers get taken away.
Of course, not all staff are involved in this. While some use excessive force and others try to get inmates to do their dirty work, the jail also had another problem with its policies being abused.
Once we started ramping up the investigations into the sick leave abuse, they just stopped calling completely, and they started going AWOL. So there were patterns of sick leave abuse and just not showing up to work.
Correction officers are given unlimited sick leave as part of a union. In the past, those caught abusing this privilege faced little consequence. And in 2021, it was reported that around a third of correctional officers at Rikers went on sick leave. In 2019, there was an average of 645 absences without leave per month. In 2021, that number jumped more than 200% to over 2,300 per month. This led to the
In other words, man, you gotta shut down this whole damn island. Losing too much tax dollars, man.
jail being
People ain't even working there, man. They govern themselves.
understaffed, putting both inmates and staff at risk.
We as a society should be thinking more about what we can do in prisons. Again, for everybody in there, right? It's like prison conditions suck. People don't want to work there.
That ain't a prison, punk. Hey, listen, that's not a prison, Mr. Sir. That is a jail.
Right? If we can improve conditions, I think we'll get more people who want to work inside prisons and jails, and getting a bigger applicant pool is only a positive thing, right? Like, I think you can get better applicants, more committed applicants. If they're enjoying their job more, they have job satisfaction. Research shows that they'll have better interactions with incarcerated people. Having incarcerated people with staff who are better is better for them. Like, it's a mutually beneficial thing.
Violence increased, and naturally, so did the jail's death toll. In total, 15 inmates died either by suicide, overdose, or from COVID-19. It's also important to note that all were men of color. And as shocking as that statistic is, what's even more startling is that 90% of inmates at Rikers are black or brown, highlighting an issue within the justice system beyond the walls of Rikers. The death toll in 2022 was even higher at 19 inmates. Again, a handful of confirmed or suspected suicides. Regardless of whether it was due to a mental health disorder or the abuse inmates faced at the hands of officers, this became a clear pattern, and the pressure to close Rikers for good was mounting.
The New York City Council has just approved the controversial plan to close Rikers. 4 new, smaller jails will now be built in the boroughs. It is a move that has sparked a lot of protest.
As of 2025, their plans to build the 4 smaller jails were behind schedule. 2 are now expected to be completed in 2031 and another in 2032. To add insult to injury, the 4 planned facilities are expected to collectively hold just over 4,000 beds, which is a problem given that Rikers Island, as of 2025, has just over 7,000 inmates. In the meantime, U.S. District Judge Laura Taylor Swain ruled in May 2025 that she would take control of Rikers and appoint an independent official to run the operations. From hiring staff to revising the jail's rules and disciplining employees, the hope is that real change will occur within. Despite a law requiring Rikers to close its gates officially in 2027, Jacques Giha, New York City's budget director, went on record saying that it will not happen. Some believe it will. I guess that's to be determined.
That's crazy,
Ultimately,
man.
Rikers Island isn't about reform, but rather figuring out how to stay alive in a system that was built to destroy you.
The Black Lives Matter and some other movements that happened in the mid-2010s, I think, made people more generally aware of like criminal justice issues. And we talk about like uses of force and like, you know, these high-profile incidents that happen with police officers, and then we see it day in and day out in correctional facilities, and it's barely a blip on the media's radar, right? Like, I think it's something important that we should all be aware of, understanding the issues that are happening there. And I think collectively, if we give it the same kind of attention that we did to other parts of the justice system, we could see some positive change that makes everyone's lives better.
If Rikers is survival of the fittest, ADX Florence is survival of the mind. 23 hours a day in solitary, no human contact. It's home to the
That's where your boy El Chapo is, man.
worst of the worst, like El Chapo. We did a video highlighting just how bad life is at ADX, so check that out.
right,
We'll see
man.
you next time.
What
How
you
to
guys
survive.
thinking, man? What you guys thinking, man? Put your comments down below, man. Throw a thumbs up, subscribe. You already know what it is. More videos to come. Teacher Chip, NIPPCHIP is in action, man. You already know what it is. Hey, man, go to school, like I said. Go to work, like I say. Go invest, save your money, man. Go build a business, get some wealth, the riches. Stay out of prison, stay out of jail, baby. We are out of here.